of Oregon. The last Bleacher Report article was written about Oregon State was written pre-NFL draft. And then the other articles on that page were previewing the Oregon State matchup. So Oregon State does not look like they're going to be a very good team this next year, in my opinion.
Um, I mean, I could see them having just as much success as last year, which wasn't much. But...
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, last year 5-7, 4-5 in conference, and then 2-4 versus top 25 teams.
Yeah. I mean, they lost,
and they've got a lot of good teams to play this year, like really good teams, like Wisconsin, and they've got Stanford and Oregon, and
they lost Jaquiz Rogers, didn't they?
They lost the quiz.
Yeah, they lost him. So they lost both the Rogers brothers, I believe, and so now there's their offense. Ryan Katz, he wasn't very impressive last year. Like, he just seemed like every time they had to play against a good team, all he did was throw interceptions. So I don't see Oregon State to make another bowl. I think about a 5, maybe 6 win season again.
I see them doing exactly as they did last year.
So do I. So moving on to Stanford. They returned 13 starters, 5 on offense and 6 on defense. The only thing that's positive about this team this year is Andrew Luck. He's an outstanding quarterback, but he is on a team that lost way too much for them to replace so quickly. Andrew Luck is good, but he's not going to be able to carry this what I think a mediocre team into a Pac-12 championship game.
You never know. I mean,
well, they also lost Jim Harbaugh, their coach.
Yes, that's the biggest factor for me.
That's same here, Chase.
So, I mean, what was their record last year? They win 11 games. What was
they
it?
Won, didn't they? They won 12 games, and I mean overall.
Yeah, they won 12 games. That's not going to happen again. I give them 8 wins this year. Because this situation looks like Louisville. A few years ago, after Bobby Petrino left Louisville, they still had a really good quarterback in Brian Brom, and they were 12-1 the year before. They were 1 game away from a national championship. The next year they went 7-5.
Yeah, you're
almost the exact same team.
That's a really good point.
That's almost the exact same situation right there.
Joseph, I give that to you. That is a great point, and I completely agree.
So, I don't see Stanford doing anything in the Pac-12 this year. So,
I see them winning some pretty big games, but I don't see them winning the Pac-12. I was sitting here trying to think of something to compare it to, and you found the perfect comparison, the Louisville reference, where you return a quarterback, but that's really good, but other than that, you don't bring anything else.
Yeah.
And people are thinking that the only reason they even think that Stanford is going to do anything is because of Andrew Luck. And
it was the same exact hype around Louisville back then.
Yeah, and if you think about it, Luck should probably have just gone to the draft, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, but he probably sensed there was a lockout. He didn't want to take the chance of not playing football.
True, and at one point he thought that Harbaugh was coming back.
That's another thing.
Harbaugh said he was coming back.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
He may have not have. He did say that. You're right.
Yeah, he was like, "I'm coming back to Stanford," and then he just goes and signs.
What a Nick Saban.
Yeah, he's another Nick Saban. You know,
Nick Saban did that twice.
Yeah, he did. He did it to the Dolphins, and he did it to LSU.
Yeah, and you can go on YouTube and find it of him saying, "I will not be the next coach at LSU," or I mean at the Miami Dolphins. And then he'll be in a Miami Dolphins shirt the next time and saying, "I will not be the next coach of Alabama." And
maybe the guy just don't want people knowing his business. I mean,
well, it's the same things like Lane Kiffin. You know, whenever he was like, "Well, this is a really hard decision for me," he's standing outside of the airplane.
Yeah,
he's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry."
Yes. Well, I mean, but instead of bold-faced lying to everybody, you can just say, "I'm not sure yet," or something like that. Or,
yeah, that's true.
I would rather not talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Instead of bold-faced lying to everybody in the country, then you could have made it a little bit easier or less bad looking.
Yeah. I say Stanford has as much success this year as the year before last. The year
Yeah,
whenever
like
they Toby
7 to 9
Gerhardt's
wins. If they get lucky, 9 wins, but about
Oh
7 wins.
with
the year when
Gerhardt.
they played Oklahoma in the bowl. Yeah,
Yeah, so
I'd say they had that kind of success this
they're
season.
not going to be very successful. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's move on to California. Um, California, they've had quarterback trouble since Aaron Rodgers left. So they're still going nowhere. I give them 6, 7 wins. There's nothing much to say on them.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, like the only thing that's been good since like for a really long time was Javid Best. Just watching him play. That's like the only thing that California's had.
And before that, Deshaun Jackson.
Okay, yeah, Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah.
But like when Deshaun Jackson blossomed, didn't they start the season off 7-0, then lost 6 games in a row?
Something like that.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
and they beat a really good Oregon team with Dennis Dixon, and then they fell off the cliff. But yeah,
I really can't remember.
Yeah, and last year the only wins they had were against UC Davis, Colorado, Washington State, Arizona State, and UCLA. So
yeah, I don't expect them. I don't expect them to go ball.
every team that looks promising, they lost to.
Interesting.
Yeah, like I mean, if you look at this list, any team that had any kind of hype they got whooped by. I mean, except they lost to Arizona by a point, but like Nevada beat the doors off of them. USC beat the doors off of them. Oregon State beat the doors off of them.
Wow.
Yeah, and so did Stanford, but they played Oregon close, if you'll remember. Remember, Oregon only beat them by 2 points.
I remember that.
It was 15-13. That was the game that was on Versus.
That was weird. Versus
yeah,
like
what's up with
contract
that?
with Pac-12. That's weird.
Yeah, random Versus team or Versus episode or broadcast on Versus. I don't dig it.
I don't know. The Versus.
I'm
really
used to only
bad.
watching like hockey or like weird stuff on Versus, like motocross. And
They have Cordell Stewart as a sideline reporter.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, I was watching UFL one day. Don't ask me why. And Cordell Stewart.
I'm
was
sorry.
he looked really depressed. He's like, yeah, the UFL. Yeah, guy threw a touchdown. Why am I working for Versus? I was once a good football player. Now look at me. I'm working for Versus.
Oh, he is old.
But yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. Let's move on.
Well, let's take a break. We'll move after the break. We will move on to the Big Ten, the new look Big Ten, and we will get you our predictions on that. So stay tuned. Hi, I'm Joseph from The Score, and remember that all of our broadcasts are archived at our Ustream page and our YouTube page at youtube.com/jhuerta11. Also remember to look us up at our Facebook page at facebook.com/thescore with Chase Efurd and Joseph Huerta with no spaces. And if you would like to follow us on Twitter, you can follow Chase at twitter.com/chaseefurd. And if you would like to follow me, Joseph, you can follow me at twitter.com/thescore_Joseph.
In the news. Welcome back to The Score. When we left off, we just finished up our Pac-12 predictions, and now we're going to go to our In the News segment. We have three big, well, actually they're all baseball-related news items because there's some pretty good baseball stuff going on right now. For Cardinals fans, you're probably excited because Albert Pujols was cleared to play by the team doctors, but at this point, there's like no clear decision on when he's expected to play. They were expecting him to play Tuesday, which was yesterday, but he didn't. So, Joseph, you said that you think that it could be possible he could come back Thursday, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really know. I mean, he's
Nobody
hurt.
knows for sure.
It's baseball. He can't afford to miss more games since he's already missed so many. So
Yeah, and plus, he was supposed to be out for a lot longer than he really was. I mean,
yeah. What was it, like 2 or 3 weeks?
4 to 6 weeks.
No, I mean, how long has it been?
It's been like 2 or 3 weeks, but he was expected to be out 4 to 6. So.
Wow.
Mhm.
So he
And
must be
if
doing
you watch that
steroids.
video, I mean, he really got hurt. Like, that was a pretty. I mean, the first time I saw where he hurt his arm, It didn't look as bad, but then I saw a different angle, and you see his arm actually like
Bending.
fracture.
Yeah.
So it was like, ugh. But I'm